Hey, what's up, guys? This is Worse, back again with another commentary. This time with Trav.
What's going on, guys?
And we've been talking about, doing a commentary together for our whole lives.
Pretty much. I mean, now that you've started doing them, it's created an opportunity to actually do it. But a little film called Jojo Rabbit. We just wanted to, I don't know. I have already seen this, but Ryan hasn't. I'm excited to see his reaction to this. But I'm also excited to just re-experience the movie because I remember some stuff, but I don't know. It's been a while.
This movie pretty much came to Trav's attention I already knew about the movie, but it was kind of Trav's idea to do the commentary on it. I was planning on watching it on my own because he had recommended it quite a bit. But after I did Moonrise Kingdom, he noticed, okay, the camera work and the direction is kind of similar to that Wes Anderson style.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm literally already seeing that, just already, which is pretty eye-catching. I love that kind of cinematography. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Taika Waititi playing Hitler.
This is the only thing I knew about the movie beforehand was he's Hitler, basically. Totally absurd. An extremely expensive use of German's version of this Beatles song. This is very outrageous so far, I'll tell you.
It's like dark humor, but I don't want to call it dark humor, but it's like, and him, by the way, is fantastic. A very bold movie for them to make. Ow.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably not far from inaccurate. I mean, I'm sure that the Nazi kids are probably having a blast, in a weird way, because they don't know any better.
Weird. It's something I never really thought about. For sure. No. Yeah, the only other Taika Waititi film I've seen is What We Do in the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, Thor Ragnarok, I guess, but that movie is pretty great. He has a very specific sense of humor, which he's from New Zealand.
Yeah,
I believe.
And he directed some stuff for Mandalorian, which are some of the better episodes. I think this was the scene where it was really sucked me in, because at first I was like, what's this movie gonna be? Because this whole beginning is just so weird. So much great cinematography in this. A lot of tans and browns in this. I don't know, a lot of movies that are set in this time just have this kind of grain, dark look, but this one has this weird, it's not really much of a happy movie, but it has a happy look. It's not trying to be oh, Germany and all that, and dark and dreary a lot. I mean, and I respect the movies that do have that, like Saving Private Ryan.
And what I've said many a time is, if I ever, finally did a movie or whatever, I would prefer colors that would be much more saturated than normal over just desaturated colors, which I'm just not a fan of. Even it all has its place, but definitely more of a fan of vibrant colors in everything.
What a discovery, it's sharp eye if you're gonna catch that. It's like I don't know, man. It just fits with like him being inside a kid's head with like how weird he actually is, or odd like sense of humor.
I don't know if I like this.
I mean, that's
I
why,
don't
and
know.
that's why it was interesting to do a commentary because it's very
Because it's one of those things. Like I'm not like laughing at Taika Waititi
as much as you
as
want to
it,
be.
like you know.
Rather, you go this route where it's sort of like it's humor, but obviously there's the real time darkness in this, like those hanging people and stuff like that. You have to have a little bit of something. But would I rather a movie in this time be like this or just like go balls to the wall grounded in the darkness? Because there's a lot of really great movies that just like are like The Pianist is a good example of a very serious movie that's like it moves you, and this doesn't move me. So probably sort of in your opinion with Taika Waititi being Hitler and in this kid's head. So even though you like the presence of it and you like the idea, you would probably rather those sequences not to exist.
Well,
Like if it was just stayed more on the serious side. Because I could see both sides to that. Where like if it was about this boy and this girl, this has potential to be a really good serious movie about World War II and all that. But
it's just a very awkward way to shove in Hitler and be funny. It's very, very weird because him being like super quirky and funny as Hitler, the novelty has already worn off. But I don't know.
But then it's weird because while I'm watching
the
him as Hitler, it's like these are some of my favorite scenes. That's what's weird about it. It's like I'm enjoying the quirkiness.
I'll agree with you.
But I am self-aware that it's taking me out of the serious story. It's such a love-hate. I'm watching it. It's like, oh my God, I'm so in love with this sequence. And then I hate the next sequence. And then I'm not, okay, I won't say that I hate anything in this movie, really. It's just more of like, oh, this scene is meh or this. But the mom stuff is amazing. And Scarlett Johansson is like killing it. It's just like how I feel with some Tarantino films where I feel like I dislike certain Tarantino films because I don't know what to feel when I'm watching. It's like confusing. Like, am I emotionally attached to this? Am I laughing at this? Am I... But the relationship between him and his mom is really a good heart to this film. But then you get Taika Waititi popping up and being funny. So it's like, what's supposed to make sense?
My least favorite thing is a confusing tone.
I still have that wall where I'm like, this is so far from normal that it's hard. It's not a hard watch. It's not like any of this is like, oh, I'm disgusted and I'm just like, I want to turn it off. I'm intrigued by everything.
No, I'm not feeling that way at all. I mean,
but
if this was like truly
super mind-boggling,
then if this was truly awful, I think I would already know.
It's like the scenes that I'm supposed to really be in love with aren't. I don't know.
That exact problem is definitely, why a confusing tone is probably the worst thing a movie can have, in my opinion. It's up there, if not the worst, because you start being taken out.
Yeah, and just looking at it as a movie, and I don't like it when movies do that.
I don't know, maybe it'll all, like I said, maybe it'll all come together at the end and I'll be like, oh, it all makes perfect sense, but yeah, I don't, not so far.
See, it's weird how like we get to this point and immediately I feel better. It's like weird how it's like he's outside. Something about being in the house, just like it's not as interesting. Like literally now, I just have this like feeling of, oh, we're somewhere else and we're talking to the nerdy friend, like which is a cliche of any movie, and but I love it.
And that guy was very tall.
There's such a like. F the Germans type of thing with this movie, or it's like just like they're, I don't know.
That's definitely a strength for this movie / any movie. Is just if I do get the vibe that it was a lot of fun to make, that makes it much better to watch infinitely. Yeah. It's just weird, like with this kind of movie, that vibe, but
I do remember it.
strange.
I do remember it from that point of them coming in and stuff. I do believe it gets better. Because if you're watching this, oh God, I forgot. Beautifully set up for that, by the way. That was a brilliant way to do that. Those are just eyes. I don't know if they're supposed to be. I mean, that probably happened to thousands of kids at the time. Oh, jeez. Also, great soundtrack. Oh God. God.
We must kill everything that we see.
Everything that we see.
Die, devil, stop!
See, like,
You okay?
it's dreary and it's like atmosphere and capturing a moment in history, but I like this stuff more. Like, that's what's really weird about it is like, yo, you'd think like something funny or whatever. It's like the fact that it's sticking to, you know, the way it is, serious right now, whatever you want to call it, is making this, you know, last half better. I like the little detail though that since Hitler died, Taika Waititi, you know, hasn't popped up.
Well, I think that's what is helping the movie. My biggest thing, because you did mention.
Never mind.
Huh?
But it's great, you know. I mean, I don't know.
Fuck off, Hitler.
What? Heroes.
What?
I really think it could have just been benefited by just the straight story it was trying to tell, rather than trying to dress it up with all kinds of just quirky indie movie like
it
type
definitely,
of stuff. Like
it definitely was. The last half is the best stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
It
And
actually
even
managed to surprise me because I didn't even remember what happens really on the last half. Like I said, I don't know, remember what was going on, if I was doing stuff or whatever. I don't remember watching every second of the film the first time, and this time I did. And I remember having that feeling that I had with the first time, where it's like, this just kind of this was okay. But you know what? I liked it better this time. But I will still place it at, I want to love it, but I don't. But I still like elements of it.
But
I don't dislike it. Like, it's not like, oh, this is on my bad list.
Yeah,
like,
I really wish
this was enjoyable.
Especially for a commentary. I really wish my reaction could have been like an overly super positive reaction, but that's just not my feeling.
And that was the point, you know, in my idea of the commentary,
like,
because I had no idea how you would react.
I thought this whole time, not that I had a high expectations or anything, but this whole time I thought I was going to get into like, whoa, this is going to be really good, because everyone plus you was recommending it so much. Like, but
and I just recommended it out of like, this is odd, and the experience is worth having, because it really, like, it's one of those movies where, you know,
just so you can say you've seen it.
Well, yeah,
sure.
But also just
like I said,
it makes you think, and it's definitely one of those movies that's like, But is that its negativity? Like, is it like, because I feel like I'm leaning more toward on a negative aspect of this movie is I'm thinking so much that I'm being pulled out of the movie, and then that last half is like is actually amazing. Like,
yeah, that last half, there was just a stark, sudden like moment. Like I think legit exactly halfway through. Where the tone suddenly just snapped out of being weird and it stuck with an actual tone
yeah,
all of a sudden.
capturing a moment in history and from a perspective that we really don't get to see.
Not at all. Very interesting.
So yeah, very interesting film. From start, like the interesting from start to finish. Rather, that's negative or positive, but still enjoyable enough where it's like,
No,
like
I mean,
honestly, like with the way the movie looks and stuff. Like I kind of wish, because this was before COVID. Like I wish I would have, for some weird miraculous reason, saw this in theaters, because even though I don't love it, it still would have been very interesting on the big screen with the sound and everything. Like I don't know, like it would have been it would have definitely been a huge conversation afterwards type of thing, walking out of a theater and like, what was that type of thing. But I mean, in a bit, on a big 4K TV, I can't complain, but it's like, it's it's just not like, there's movies out there that are on my list as to like, yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that, and I plan to rewatch that, and this is just like, I did that for this, and I don't plan to worry about rewatching it. It's just like, it's just, unfortunately, because I would like for it to be that, but not every movie can be on your rewatch list.
And I've never, you know, I usually don't expect something to like super blow me away, but this was being recommended that much. So maybe that influenced my thoughts on it. But I will say, like I said, the worst thing a movie can have, or one of the worst things, is a confusing tone. And the first half suffers heavily, heavily from that. Heavily. But I can say that overall, I mean, if I did see it again, then whatever. But it's not something I'm going to be like super excited to watch.
That would be one of those things where you're at someone else's house and they have it on, or it's definitely one of those movies where it's like a pass by film. Unfortunately, even though,
yeah,
it's gonna be one of those movies that it's gonna keep changing for me.
It was hugely acclaimed. Like I said, it got nominated for Best Picture, which is wild. And it's just a notch on Taika Waititi's belt, and he's just going to move on. I mean, he's a world-class director for sure at this point.
It's definitely got his own flavor, absolutely. Because when you go into his films, it's like, I'm gonna taste something weird, and I don't know if I'm gonna like it or hate it. But here we go. It's about the ride more so than anything. But final thoughts, I guess, before we could.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much already summed up my final thoughts. But super final thoughts.
Watch Jojo Rabbit. You know what I mean? Like, it's still I recommend. If you watch this commentary before you watched it, what are you doing anyway? But
I don't know.
But I'm gonna say it one more time to you guys, and then I'll let Ryan wrap up the commentary. Let us know your thoughts on this movie. I'm very interested, because is there a specific audience that this attracts where you're just like, who of you out there is head over heels for this? I actually want to know your reason, your just, like, what made this amazing for you, and all the way through. And let us know all that, negatives, positives. I'm legitimately curious. I'm not just saying that to be like, comment or whatever. I'm literally like actually interested on other people's opinions.
I'm curious
on this
as well,
movie.
for sure.
Because different perspectives always matter, and you know. So yeah.
Anyway, guys, this was Trav joining me for a commentary, and hopefully we can do many, many more. This was freaking fun above anything. This was very
And that's the main
fun.
reason I feel like we're doing it, is like, even though it's this edited down experience, we're enjoying the, like, we're having to watch the whole movie together.
I mean,
it's not, you know, so it's still a journey.
But yeah, definitely just have an awesome week, guys. Hope y'all are doing all right. Comment below on Trav's stuff, and I'm really curious as well. And go watch my Moonrise Kingdom commentary if you haven't, if you're even interested. But yeah, guys, that wraps it up. This movie was probably about pretty much 50-50 with me, but I love doing this, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.